Welcome to the Midnight Horror Club. My name is Dean Anderson, and on this channel we talk all things horror, crime, conspiracy theories, and scary stories. If that's something you're interested in, then please subscribe and let's get started. So I was sat recording, and I was recording for about 50 minutes. At the end of it, I am so excited to be done. I'm tired. I want to shower. I want to go to bed. It's almost 1. I want to sleep. And I noticed that it only recorded sound for 20 minutes. So I'm just eating my feelings right now with these blondies. I made the best recipe. You can find the recipe right here. They're so good, honestly. I don't even like white chocolate, but... Okay, so today we're going to be talking about a crime case, and I actually discovered this when I was in the bath. I have this tradition, and I don't know if it's weird. You be the judge. Every time I have a bad day, or I'm in a bad mood, or I'm feeling irritated, any negative feeling, I have a bath and I read crime magazines. I don't know if it makes me a psychopath, but it calms me down. It kind of snaps me out of the bubble that I'm in. So the other day I was really annoyed because I have an upstairs neighbor and she is driving me insane. So I was in the bath and I was reading my crime magazine, and one of the stories that I read was about the girl in the bunker. And I don't know if you've heard about this story, but it's really crazy, but it's also a story that does not have a bad ending. And when I say that, obviously there's bad stuff in the story, but she doesn't die. So, and as we all know with crime stories, the ending is always so predictable because the woman always dies. So that's the reason why I wanted to talk about it. And lately I think missing people have been such a big topic. They've all been so negative, and I just really wanted to talk about something with a positive ending. So let's get started. So make yourself comfortable, grab yourself a cup of tea, a blanket, and let's talk about the girl in the bunker. So Elizabeth Shoaf was a 14-year-old girl who lived in Lugoff, South Carolina. She lived there with her parents and her little brother Donnie. She was very excited about life. She had just started high school. She was dating a boy, and I think he was her first boyfriend. She was also really excited about the weekend because her aunt was coming down and she hadn't seen her in a while. She was really excited about the weekend and just life in general. Also, I'm going to call her Lizzie in the story instead of Elizabeth because it's shorter, and her friends and family called her Lizzie. So just FYI. So after school one day, Lizzie and her friends stood waiting at the bus stop. They're waiting for their ride, and they actually ask her if she wants a ride home, but she says no, because she lives pretty close to the bus stop. So she says no and say goodbye to her friends, and then she starts walking home. So she's almost home. She can see the house and she can even hear her dogs barking, and suddenly she hears someone talking to her, and she looks to the side and there's a man stood in the forest, and he's wearing a green shirt, camouflage pants, and a badge. So he tells her that he's a police officer and that he needs to talk to her. So she goes over to him and he tells her that she's under arrest because they found weed on the property where her parents live. He then continues to tell her that her little brother is already in custody. So she freaks out and she's confused. He puts her in handcuffs, and he also puts on a collar that has got a box on it. And he tells her that there's a bomb in the box, and if she doesn't do what he tells her to do, then it will explode. So while they're in the woods, he asks her really strange questions. He asks her if she's got a phone and if she's a virgin, just a bunch of weird questions that has got nothing to do with the situation. They continue to walk through the forest, and then she actually asks him about the police station and her brother, and he then tells her that you're a smart girl, you should have figured it out. And by this point she panics and realizes that she's been kidnapped. He finally stops walking and she is sure that he's gonna kill her, so she begs him not to kill her. And then suddenly he pulls up a hatch door from the ground and tells her to go down the stairs. Right after getting into the bunker, unfortunately he R-worded her, and to make sure that she doesn't escape, he puts her in chains. Okay, so let's pause here and move over to the mom's point of view. So it's around 4:30 in the afternoon, and Lizzie's mom is at work, and she's worried because she didn't receive a phone call from her daughter. And this is something to do every day. Every time Lizzie comes home from school, she calls her mom to let her know, we've both had lunch, we're both fine, see you later, bye. That kind of stuff. But this time she didn't call her, so she decides to call the house to hear if everything's okay. So she calls the house, and Lizzie's little brother Donnie picks up the phone, and he tells her that she never got home from school. So the mom actually leaves work and rushes back home to find Lizzie. She gets back home and she can't find her anywhere. She looks through her stuff and looks in her room, and she just can't find her daughter. Nothing seems to be missing, so she gets a really bad feeling in her stomach. She calls Lizzie's friends, asks if they've seen her, and they all told her that the last time they saw her was at the bus stop. So the mom gets even more worried, and she decides to call friends and family so they can all look for her. They search the whole neighborhood and they knock on every single door, but unfortunately they don't find her. They also don't find any clues as to what could have happened or where she could have gone. At this point, it's getting pretty serious, and they decide to call the police. So around 7:30 in the evening, the police arrive and they begin their investigation. They search the house, the neighborhood, they ask questions, and they do as much as they can. Days go by, the police keep searching, the family keeps searching, and they just end up being more worried because they have no leads, no clues, and time is running out. And as we all know, the first couple of days is the most crucial when it comes to someone who's missing. So it's now been a week since she went missing, and the search is dying out. Less people are showing up, it's getting less media coverage, and people are just losing hope. So the family is actually about to go to a vigil, and the mom decides to check her phone to see if she's got any missed calls or messages. She noticed that she's got a text from an unknown number, and she opens it, and the text says, "Hey mom, it's Lizzie. I'm in a hole in the ground near Charm Hill. It's near that dirt road where those big trucks go. Get the police, though be careful. He has bombs hidden." So how did we get here? Is this Lizzie, or is it the fake police officer talking, or is this someone who's just pranking the family? So let's go back to Lizzie's point of view. So while being down there, Vinson, which is the fake police dude, he forced Lizzie to watch TV while he feeds her. It's fucking weird. She sees her own mother on TV and she's crying her eyes out and begging to get her daughter back. And Lizzie's watching all of this while being fed by a psychopath. She's watching it and she's trying to stay strong for the family, and she knew that she couldn't let him win, and that was what kept her going. So after a few days in captivity, Lizzie and Vinson hears helicopters above them. Vinson tells Lizzie that she can't make a sound because if she does, he will kill her. And this must have been so frustrating because they're underground, they're in that shitty bunker, and she can actually hear and see the police above her just walking, and she cannot say a thing. And that must have been so horrible, knowing that the police are right there and you're so close to being safe, but you're sat there with a psychopath who's got a gun, who's got a taser, he's got all kinds of weapons. So she's just stuck. So she realized that she needs a plan if she ever wants to escape. So every time he fell asleep at night, she would sit there and think about ways that she can escape. So one night, Vinson is asleep and she builds up the courage to try and escape. So she takes his gun and takes it out of the holster or whatever you call it. And she has to do this quietly. And as we all know, it's got that Velcro bit and it's so fucking loud, but she has to do it really slow because she knows that he's gonna wake up if she's loud. So she gets the gun out and she puts the gun to his face and pulls the trigger. Unfortunately, it got jammed, so she didn't shoot him. Honestly, that must have been so terrifying. Can you imagine like building up the courage to kill a man and then you pull the trigger and nothing happens, and you realize that, holy shit, what if that woke him up? He would kill me and I could be dead right now. Thankfully, he didn't wake up, so she puts the gun back and goes to sleep. The day after, she thinks of a new escape plan. She's gonna pretend that she likes him, so she starts calling him baby and starts saying things like she loves him, and he does the same back. He calls her baby and tells her multiple times a day that he loves her. Nasty. But her plan is working because slowly he's beginning to trust her. Or I say slowly, it actually happens pretty quickly. So he starts being less strict with her. He removes the chains. He even takes her out for a walk. And while being out for a walk, he actually calls his girlfriend. I know, he's got a girlfriend. Excuse me. So while he's on the phone with his girlfriend, Lizzie realizes that she can use the phone to escape. So they go back to the bunker and eventually he falls asleep. So she walks over to his stuff and she grabs his phone and then she tries to send a message to her mom. There's a few issues with this plan. So the first thing is it's an old phone. You know, those old, well, I don't know, depends how old you are. But on the old phones, you have to press the button so many, like multiple times to get one letter. And obviously, this means that writing a text takes way longer than it would nowadays. So not only did it take long, but also it had buttons. So every time you pressed it, it would make a sound. So she would have to do it really slow. And then eventually she managed to write a text. But here comes the second problem. There's no signal in that bunker, so she needs to get the phone up high. So she goes up the ladder and sticks her arm up as far as she can, and it failed. It wouldn't send because there wasn't signal. So every single night she tries to do this, and oh my god, that must have been nerve-wracking. Can you imagine? So Lizzie does this every single night and she's just hoping that the text will go through. So it's now September 15th and Lizzie and Vinson can hear helicopters again. And this is really odd to Vinson because he knew that the search had been slowly dying. He was wondering, why has it suddenly been picked up again? Why is it suddenly busy outside? So apparently the mom told the news that she had gotten a message from her daughter. So Vincent sees this and he asks Lizzie if this is true, and she breaks down crying and she tells him that she loves him and she would never do that. And he's now sad, confused and anxious and angry, and he just doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what his next step should be. So he actually ends up asking her what to do, and she tells him that he should just run away because she doesn't want him to get caught. She doesn't want him to go to prison. So he does just that. He takes a few things and he runs away. He leaves her there, and Lizzie closes the door and locks it, and she sat on her bed really scared because she doesn't know if he's gonna come back, if he's outside waiting for her and he's about to kill her. She's too scared at this point, so she decided to wait until the morning to make sure that everything is safe. So it's now the morning of September 16th and Lizzie goes up the ladder and she wants to go home, but she's really scared because Vincent told her that there were bombs around, so she can't just leave. She doesn't know where to step and where not to step. And the only thing she can think of in that moment is to scream and yell for help, and she starts yelling and screaming, and thankfully someone actually yells back, and it turns out it's the police. She sees them and she breaks down crying. One of the police officers tell her that she's gonna be okay and she's safe, and then he carries her through the woods and Lizzie is finally free. She reunites with her family and they're so happy and they cannot believe that she's back. This story is actually really amazing because normally when people go missing for over a week, the chances of them coming back alive, they're very slim. So the family must have been so relieved that she was alive. So Vincent is on the run and they don't know where he is, but thankfully they get a tip from a woman who saw him. Apparently he tried to steal her car, but he failed and they were able to track him down and arrest him. He was put in custody and he denied everything. He denied everything, like the psychopath he is. And before his trial, he actually did an interview, and oh my god, it is so disgusting to watch. He's basically trying to blame Lizzie, saying how it was fun for her and that it was like being on a holiday. Ugh. Yeah, nothing screams holiday more than being raped and chained up. So poor Elizabeth, she had to go to trial and face him not long after the horrible experience. And honestly, I think she was so brave and strong for doing that. Vinson got sentenced to 421 years in prison without the possibility of parole. Also, another thing to mention is that his girlfriend and his mother got arrested as well. Apparently, they had been helping him. So before he kidnapped Lizzie, he was actually wanted by the police because he molested a 12-year-old girl. I mean, yeah, he's a horrible man. So the police was looking for him and they had been helping him. How disgusting is that? Can you imagine your partner being accused of being a pedophile and you help them? Like what? It's fucked up. So we're gonna end this with some good news. On May 3rd, 2021, he actually died in prison. So that's amazing. We love that. We love when horrible people die. They don't belong on this planet, in my opinion. The world has got one less criminal. So that's amazing. So what did you think of this story? Personally, I think that even though it is a horrible story, I love the fact that she escaped. I love the fact that she was smart enough to basically make a strategy on how to escape and survive. And as a 14-year-old girl, I don't even know if I could have done that, but I'm really glad that she did. I'm happy that she survived. And yeah, that is the story of the girl in the bunker. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and if you have any ideas on what I should be talking about, feel free to let me know. Anyways, that is it for this video, so thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time in the Midnight Horror Club.